We finally had the release of the Wicked for Good trailer. First, it was in theaters, and then they released it online. And I seriously can't remember the last time a trailer has been built up this much.
No, it's crazy. There's literally a trailer for the trailer, but we're not complaining because we are #WickedHeads.
And this release somehow feels both early and late. Like, it does feel like Wicked promo has been going on forever. Obviously, the movie came out last fall. And at that time, they collaborated with more than 400 brands. So like Vera Bradley, H&M, It Cosmetics, Stanley Cup, Bloomingdale's, Gap, Aerie, Forever 21, and Crocs.
But part 2 isn't coming out until November, and usually movie trailers come out like 3 months before the movie hits theaters, so we have like 5 more months of Wicked promo, and then obviously the press circuit for after the movie comes out, and then everything for like award season, so it's basically like 8 months of Wicked.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I know you're not complaining. I'm sure there's people out there who are a little sick of it, but strap in, people. The first movie so far has grossed $750 million worldwide. So clearly this be everywhere all at once tactic is working.
But this did get Wren and I talking about how movie promos have become such like a circus lately in a way that it wasn't when we were growing up. Like before it was kind of like the trailer and then the movie comes out and then the celebrities do like talk shows and that was kind of it.
Yeah, now movies are going above and beyond to try to capture the audience attention. One of our favorite recent examples is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, because they had people dress up in ape costumes and ride around on horseback in New York and LA, and we just wish we had seen them.
Then there was promo for the horror movie Smile, which had random sporting fans stand and like smile creepily at the camera during baseball games, which is really good. And then, oh my god, I don't even remember this, but apparently all-star basketball player on the Nuggets, Jokic, dressed up as Gru from Despicable Me during the NBA playoffs, and he's like such a serious player. I'm like surprised he did that.
Then what happened?
They say I looked like Gru.
Why does that bother you?
It doesn't.
Then why bring it up?
Because they won't leave me alone.
They?
Guys, I'm not your boss.
Illumination's Despicable Me 4.
So we have to mention Barbie because it broke the internet, which of course was amplified by the Barbenheimer phenomenon. Mabel and I actually covered it for CBS. Barbenheimer Day is finally here, but which movie will be #1 in the box office this weekend?
Will it be Greta Gerwig's sparkly, whimsical Barbie, or Christopher Nolan's more serious World War II era Oppenheimer? And I get why they're doing all of this, but it is a lot. Like, I roll my eyes now every time we hear about Barbie because they just went so hard with the promo. Like, there were pink McDonald's burgers and like every clothing line had a Barbie line. But there is a fine line between creative advertising and just like dousing everyone in your movie promo. We couldn't like escape the color pink for like a year.
You know what I don't get? I don't get why there's 12 different premieres, because now casts are traveling all around the world, like Australia, Hong Kong. Like, there's just so many different premieres. I don't know who's going to them. I don't know what they're for. They're not even correlated to the release of the movie in those countries. It's just to keep red carpet photos and interviews circulating.
And I feel like movies used to kind of do this press in a way that was creative, but not too much. So the Dark Knight promo is considered one of like the all-time greats. They took out this digital political ad of Harvey Dent, who is a politician in the movie. And after a while, the ad would start to like flicker and glitch. And then you'd see the Joker, who is obviously Heath Ledger, come on screen. And like, that's so fun.
But arguably, the greatest movie promo of all time was the Blair Witch Project, because they made everything seem like it was real. So the poster said, in October of 1994, 3 student filmmakers disappeared in the woods while shooting a documentary. A year later, their footage was found. So they made it seem like that really happened. And then they created a missing persons website and had each character's info.
And those 2 ads kind of served as the blueprint for where movie promos started to head. And of course, this new digital sphere has really shaken up advertising just because there are so many opportunities for people to see ads in promo without even realizing it. So this kind of was shocking to us. The average person sees roughly 100 ads a day.
That is way more than I expected. Like, I guess there must be so much unconscious messaging that we don't even process as an ad. But global ad spending for 2025 is predicted to surpass $1 trillion for the first time ever.
So to get all our questions answered on advertising trends, crazy movie budgets, and the most creative, cutting-edge ads in the past few months, we're speaking to creative director Ashley Rutstein from Stuff About Advertising.
Ashley, first we have to talk about this much anticipated Wicked for Good trailer that finally just came out yesterday. We think it's one of the most built up trailers ever, at least in our memory. What did you think of this marketing ploy, we'll call it.
It's interesting to see them make such an event of just a trailer, which was typically such a small part of the whole movie enterprise. But it feels like a smart move, especially for something like Wicked as a film adaptation that has so much history behind it. You know, people have read the book, they've seen the show, they've been listening to the album for years. So I think it really works when people have that excitement to see how it's going to come to life. But for something like an original film, I don't know if it would work as well because people just don't care yet. You know, you have to make them care first, and then they will absolutely go pay to see a trailer.
What trends and changes have you seen in movie marketing lately, just in general? Because Ren and I at the beginning of this segment are just kind of talking about how it has become such a production lately.
Yeah, the trailer thing is definitely gaining some traction. I actually just saw recently the new Now You See Me movie. I think it's the third one. They had a thing to promote the trailer right before it dropped. They put a billboard up in Times Square and it just said, Now You See Me. There was a number to text. I think it said text for magic. And there was a countdown on it. And there was just money kind of animating onto the billboard. I saw it on a TikTok live stream, texted the number just because I was curious. And I guess whoever texted the number during that hour that the billboard was up got money. So I got like $100 and something
Oh
for
my
texting
God.
this number randomly, because it's supposed to be like the characters in the movie. They've got this heist, they're splitting the money. So yeah, I think this is becoming a much bigger thing, especially for those sequels and reboots and adaptations and things. I think another big trend is just influencers and creators. I think that's kind of an obvious one, but you're starting to see creators and influencers going to premieres, movies, TV shows. They are always part of these premieres now. They're on the red carpet interviewing the stars. They're part of the press tours. They are just so ingrained in these campaigns now.
So, how big, if you can help us understand, how big are movie promo budgets?
I mean, when you just look at the numbers, it's astronomical to us normal people, but I think in the world of movies, it's just an everyday thing for them. So the Wicked marketing budget was 150 million. Their production budget, though, was 145 million. So this is pretty common where the marketing budget is similar to or even bigger than the production budget.
Oh.
It's more important sometimes than the production. A slightly, well, much smaller example with Get Out. Their production was 4.5 million. Obviously a much smaller scale movie, but for marketing, they put in 30 million. So they knew that there was potential for this movie to be big, so they really put money behind it with the marketing.
Wow. And we
Yeah.
know that you focus on like other types of advertising content. So we wanted to ask you, what industry have you kind of noticed doing really well in this field and that's been kind of the most creative with its advertising recently?
The beauty industry has really been impressing me lately.
Yeah.
The main thing for me is that I can just off the top of my head name so many brands in this space, and they're getting really creative. Like an example is Elf. They have been all over the place. I feel like they do something new every single week. But I don't know if you saw this, but there's Sailing with Phoenix, who's the creator that got really big for quitting his job and sailing to Hawaii with his cat. Elf dropped a care package off in the middle of the ocean to him. They worked with a pilot, put some goodies and stuff in there, and dropped it off in the middle of the ocean. And that was such an innovative way of doing a PR package.
And so that's an example of a very good, well executed campaign. Have you seen any like flops in any industry lately that you're like, how did this get greenlit?
Yeah, I think with flops, it usually comes down to a misunderstanding of your audience or just doing something that doesn't make sense for your brand. And a recent example of that is the Jaguar rebranding. I mean, the internet was exploding. They just took this luxury, prestigious heritage brand and turned it into something that felt like a parody. Their visuals were very outlandish and strange, and now they're looking for a new agency. I also see a lot of AI things flopping just because the quality is not good yet. And some brands are putting out fully AI created ads and thinking that it's fine. People have 15 fingers and it's just not the time to be putting out a fully AI spot.
We're glad you brought up like the AI because we wanted to ask you like, Do you think this is a time in the advertising industry for a lot of like creativity because people are obviously putting so much money behind it, but then obviously on
Mhm.
the other hand, things can get really repetitive, especially when you are depending on AI. Things are getting like sloppier. Like, where do you think the industry is kind of like heading right now?
I think it's I think it's kind of a paradox. There is so much oversaturation with ads, but in order to cut through all of that, you have to get creative and innovative. And I personally feel like with AI especially, AI is generating based off of what's already out there. It's learning from existing content, so it can't really innovate in the way that humans can. So I think that's going to drive even more need for human creativity because the more and more people that use AI, the more ads that are going to seem exactly the same.
Are there any other trends that we should expect to see throughout advertisements as the year progresses?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more offline stuff.
Ooh.
Um, there's just so much fatigue around the internet and it's mentally draining. So people are seeking more and more offline experiences. I think print is going to come back, whether it's magazines or just any form of a tactile thing that you can, hold in your hand. Brands doing more to actively engage their audience. So they're not just talking at them, they're doing things like book clubs and run clubs and inviting them on brand trips just because people are desperate for a break from their phones.